Live, local, late breaking. This is NewsWatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6:30 on January 14th. Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm Carlos Murrieta. Right now we're taking a live look out at Wairika from the Rain Rock Casino. And with that, we want to turn over to Storm Alert Weather 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress for a look at our Wednesday. And Sarah, would you say it's a bit of a rinse and repeat day when it comes to the weather?
110%. We're still waking up with dense areas of freezing fog for our west side valleys. Here's a look out at Medford, where temperature is sitting at 29 degrees, visibility at a quarter of a mile, and it could be denser into some areas. So just like the past few mornings, we do have a freezing fog advisory in place for our west side valleys, including into Siskiyou County. Now remember, slick roads are possible, and you're going to want to plan for some extra time out on your commute because we are really seeing those dense areas, especially into the Rogue Valley, the Illinois Valley. Grants Pass is at a quarter mile as well, but even Montague this morning waking up with some freezing fog. Now, a lot of us have been asking about how do we see this fog develop and what does it take? So especially after we see those wetter storm systems move through, quiet weather does usually mean we're dealing with some fog with plenty of moisture on the ground. If we have clear skies and calm winds, as those temperatures cool down, we'll start to see the air become saturated, which leaves little droplets of water into the air. That's what causes our fog. Now, freezing fog is what we've been dealing with this past week, and there's one more ingredient needed. That is freezing temperatures, and it is rather cold across the region, so that's what we're seeing. Now, this time it's a little bit different. Those water droplets are super cooled, which means that they're still liquid, but the second they touch any surface, they become ice and freeze. So that's why yesterday morning we were waking up, which looked like snow on the ground, but that really was just ice formed by fog. And then the longer we see those areas sit into that fog, that's where it looks a little bit snowier. So on top of that, that's why we're also seeing slick conditions on those roads and why freezing fog does raise a little bit more of a concern than regular dense fog. But here's a look out at those temperatures this morning. It's rather cold. We're at 29 for Medford, 30 for Cave Junction, 22 for Klamath Falls. Along the coast, we have 42 for Brookings, and into Northern California, Montague at 21 this morning. Temperatures are expected to rebound areas where we're seeing lots of clear skies and sunny skies into your afternoon, but it'll still be rather cold into our west side valleys, especially areas that are a bit more stubborn, like Grants Pass in the Illinois Valley, specifically Cave Junction area as well. So for today, we will see those milder temperatures outside of our valleys. And if you are wondering when you can expect to see that sunrise today, well, it is going to be around 7:38 this morning, but as the days push on, we're finally past that threshold where our days are going to start to get a bit longer. Now, I am hoping that we'll start to get some wet weather back into our forecast as we switch over into next week, but I'll let you know the next time we're tracking that wet weather, but also take a closer look at your holiday weekend, all coming up in just a bit. Carlos?
All right, thank you, Sarah. Looking at our top stories this morning, James Conway, a former Grants Pass employee who was arrested in June for multiple felony sex crimes involving a child, has pleaded guilty to 3 Class B felony counts of encouraging child sex abuse in the second degree. He was arrested in June of last year and later posted a $100,000 bail. At the time of his arrest, Conway worked as an economic development specialist for the city of Grants Pass and was placed on administrative leave. The city confirmed to NewsWatch 12 that he is no longer employed. The plea was part of a global deal that dismisses 17 additional charges, and Conway is now scheduled to be sentenced on February 2nd. And the Jackson County District Attorney's Office just sentenced an Eagle Point man to more than 10 years in prison in connection to a large-scale drug trafficking organization. A total of 20 people were arrested in the organization last year after a 2-year investigation. 17 of those people were indicted, and 41-year-old Carlos Diaz was identified as the head of the operation, as he organized the transportation of multiple pounds of fentanyl from California to Jackson County. He was sentenced to a total of 125 months in prison, followed by post-prison supervision. Several cases in this operation are still being prosecuted, but what we know about this case can be found on our website. And on to continuing coverage. Nationwide ICE Out for Good protests continued across our region as dozens of people gathered at the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office in Medford to protest the recent ICE actions in both Portland and Minnesota. Demonstrators staged a die-in laying on the ground to symbolize the multiple individuals who lost their lives due to ICE custody or actions in 2025. While many participants chanted and sang, others engaged in a silent counter-protest, with one showing a vulgar hand gesture.
More people showing that they're standing up for what's right. All we've ever preached is come to America. We are free, and we are not free right now.
I'm here because that's there. That shouldn't exist. That is absolutely contradicts what's in our Constitution. This is a free land.
Leaders of the chants and songs emphasized their commitment to families, asserting that children deserve to remain with their families. The protest and demonstration lasted about an hour. And Governor Tina Kotek is outlining next steps after a 60-day hunger emergency in Oregon, and she says SNAP benefits have been restored, but families still face food insecurity and new threats to their assistance. Oregon responded quickly after SNAP benefits were delayed during the federal shutdown, coordinating with food banks, tribes, and community providers to deliver millions of pounds of food. Despite these efforts, families continue to face challenges due to federal policy changes, delay in food shipments, and increase in EBT card theft. To address this, the governor is proposing chip-enabled EBT cards to reduce fraud and legislative action to preserve SNAP access. She is also encouraging Oregonians to support local food banks and pantries. And as the state continues to face housing challenges, one pilot program has been working to support youth experiencing homelessness. Now, since March of 2023, the Direct Cash Transfer Plus pilot program has led to countless testimonies from young people experiencing homelessness. Operated through a partnership between Point Source Youth and the Youth Experiencing Homelessness program, the program provides members 18-24 with $1,000 a month to help navigate housing and additional needs, while also providing financial education and additional support services.
Cash Plus Services is the most scalable solution that benefits the most young people most cost effectively. And that's really incredible. Young people experiencing homelessness, age 18 and 24, it's really important to intervene so we don't have futurely chronically homeless adults, right?
The program is now underway in Jackson County and looks to replicate its success that it saw while serving Multnomah, Clackamas, and Deschutes counties over the past 2 years. Program leaders hope the program can become a national model moving forward to help the youth worldwide. And moving into developing news, human remains found on a Washington beach nearly 20 years ago have been identified as a former Oregon mayor who disappeared while crabbing in 2006. The Grays Harbor County Sheriff's Office said the remains found in Taholah, Washington were identified as Clarence Edwin Ed Asher, a former mayor of Fossil, Oregon. Asher went missing while crabbing in Tillamook Bay in September of 2006 and was later presumed to have drowned. The remains were unidentified for years and was known as a Grays Harbor County John Doe until DNA testing and genetic genealogy confirmed his identity in 2025. And we also have new information about a fishing vessel that ran aground near Paradise Point near Port Orford this last weekend. The crew says the ship is so badly damaged it won't be able to be salvaged. The Coast Guard and other first responders helped rescue 3 people and 2 dogs from the Texas Lady. Salvage crews came and tried to recover the boat, but crews say the boat is too damaged to be salvaged. The plan now is to pull the ship further onto shore, drain the fuel and oil, then cut it up into sections. The beach and parking lot at Paradise Point will remain closed until further notice. And memorial services for Congressman Doug LaMalfa are being set to be held for next Saturday at the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds in Chico, California. The service will begin at 12 p.m. with doors opening at 10 a.m. Tickets are required for entry, and for those tickets, you can head on over to douglamalfa.com. Security restrictions will be strictly enforced, as weapons, signs, sticks, and large bags of any type will not be allowed at the service. A live stream of the service will also be arranged. And we're also following up with the Foodery, who's been looking for new tenants, as they announced back in December that Curbside King will be the newest addition to the food hall. Curbside King owner William Snyder has been in the food business for more than a decade. He first launched Curbside as a food truck in Grants Pass, but that operation has since been canceled. Now opening a new location at the Foodery gives Snyder the opportunity to pursue something he's been wanting to do for quite some time.
Having a brick and mortar right in the heart of Phoenix just seems like a good option for us. It was a very appealing idea to no longer have to move the truck every single day and to eliminate some of the process that keeps me constantly involved.
William has been coming to the Foodery every day to get everything prepared for its opening day, but he has experienced equipment getting delayed and had to push back his targeted opening day. And the city of Medford might be the new home of a professional soccer team in United Soccer League. Officials from the USL are scheduled to present a presentation to Medford city officials during a study session later today. The USL are exploring Medford for a League One expansion men's and women's team, and among the sites being potentially to be used for the possible team is Spiegelberg Stadium. However, no voting will be happening during this study session, and this is the developing story, and we'll bring you that latest information both on air and on our website at kdrv.com.